just took this presentation from Peter van Dijk. It was presented at NL-NOG Day. It was a half-an-hour presentation, but I will try to do it in 5 minutes. All right. So, DNS Flag Day. Very, very quickly. You all know how DNS works, right? The client asks to a resolver, and resolver returns back the IP address of the thing. Now, this is the recursion. We are talking to root. We are talking to, for example, .com, and then we are going to google.com. That's how recursive resolving works. Back in the days when DNS was standardized, the packet size was set to 512 bytes and no more. These days, when we have DNSSEC, this doesn't work anymore, right? So there was eDNS extension to DNS standardized back in a long time ago, and that means we can send packets longer than 512 bytes, so we can fill in all the resource records, all the signatures and everything else. So what happens if you are running a DNS server with and you are authoritative for your domain, and your server does not support eDNS? What happens? Well, the resolver asks for www.example.com/a+edns and gets back format error or serve failed or non-existing domain or empty answer or something else. What happens next? The resolver asks in an old-fashioned, without eDNS, it just asks through a DNS extension and gets back the answer. So far, this worked. The reasons why the recursive resolver doesn't get back eDNS is maybe because DNS server doesn't support it, or maybe firewall in the middle are dropping eDNS packets and things like this. But until now, it worked. But you need to be aware, and that's why I'm giving this lightning talk. A change is coming. Major DNS vendors like Internet Systems Consortium with Bind, NLNet Labs, CSS.NIC, and PowerDNS are changing how their software behave. And after February 1st, 2019, that's next year, only the authoritative servers will only respond in eDNS. No more fallback to DNS. So you need to make sure you upgrade your authoritative DNS servers, that they will support DNS, and please make sure that your firewalls are not blocking packets bigger than 512 bytes. Because what will happen will be, you see authoritative 1, authoritative 2, just eDNS queries and basically nothing else. You can check if you are ready. There is a dnsflagday.net website where you can put in your domain. There is a field, press test, and see if your DNS server and your firewall is currently configured, so it would continue to work properly also in the future. I tested for sdnog.sd, and not all servers are ready. I think the ones from Efrenic works, but some other ones doesn't work. I don't have a picture here. You can test it by yourself. So you will need to fix this. You also have eDNS compliance tester. People, we really need to fix DNS and make eDNS work and get rid of DNS, because otherwise we really can't do DNSSEC. You can also test your domain with ednscom.isc.org. Have a look. That's a longer version. You can also test it with dnsviz.net. There are lots of tools where you can see if you are compliant. Because without eDNS, spoofing is quite easy. With eDNS, spoofing is less easy because we can do DNSSEC. Couple of suggestions. Upgrade your authoritative DNS servers to support eDNS. Ideally to latest version, but optimally just to a version where eDNS works properly. Test servers behavior before upgrading. Check with these tools that I suggested you to. Decide which version is stable enough and upgrade. If not, your domain may break and may not be reachable for some places on the internet. And with that, was that 5 minutes? Thank you. Are there any questions? Oh boy.
Speaking as a random person on the internet, so we understand DNS is important. So, but why did the authors of these software packages decide to change this, and why now? What's the reason that they let DNS be broken for so many years, and now suddenly all of them are going to forcibly break it at the same time?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked. You see, Peter Van Dyke at powerdns.com. I suggest you ask him. But honestly, there needed to be a point in time where we should decide that the pain of not fixing it is greater than the pain of change, basically. So I think they collectively decided that if we want to get DNSSEC off the ground properly, then we need to fix eDNS first, because you can't transport a cow if you don't have a truck. You need to fix the truck first. Thank you. Oh, here comes trouble.
Hello, I'm another random person from the internet. There's been a lot of excitement on several mailing lists about another DNS event happening in the near future.
Oh, the key rollover.
There have been some measurements on the DNS in the last 12 months, well, 12 months minus 1 week. Have these measurements told us anything about the current state of affairs in eDNS land? Is it 20% of the internet that's broken with respect to eDNS? Is it 80%? Is it 100%? How much is broken?
So I think they went through periodically through .nl, TLD, and .cz, and I think they both scored somewhere between 0.5% and 1%. So that's sort of like acceptable loss. Well, so do you think that with that percentage we should go forward and fix it? Okay, thank you. Anyone else other than usual suspects? No? Okay, thank you very much.